Hello, here in this video I want to outline some of the important course information. We're going to start with hallway passes. You get 6 passes every semester. I keep track of these passes so you don't have to worry about holding on to a piece of paper and showing me that paper whenever you want to use a pass. Up to 5 points may be used as extra credit on the midterm/final exam. Now, the reason those are both mentioned is because you get 6 hallway passes each semester. With 5 of these being able to be used as points on your midterm and final exam, and with each midterm and final exam counting as 10% of your overall grade, each pass is worth an extra 0.1 to your overall grade, which is really powerful in terms of your grade. Now, that's your end of the semester grade. You can think about each restroom pass moves that year-long grade by an extra 0.1, which can be really nice when you're trying to round up from, say, a 91 to a 91.5. One pass has no value, which means you don't have to be afraid to go in an emergency. There's 6 passes, but only 5 of them count for extra credit points. One of them will not cost you anything in terms of extra points on your midterm or final exam. That is so that all students can feel free to go once without fear of losing anything. The biggest issue students have is the fear of being late. Students will walk right past the restroom, fight traffic to get to class, set their stuff down, then want to battle traffic again back to the restroom with permission to be late. And when I say permission, is they wait in line to come talk to me and say, hey, I want to use the restroom, can I be late to class? Here's what I want us to do. Use the restroom on the way to class. If you end up being a few moments late, which most people are not if they went to the bathroom on the way to class, I usually have 2 to 3 students all year that have to use restroom passes because they're late. But if you are late by a few moments, you can use a restroom pass to cover yourself. This takes away the fear of using the restroom on the way. A lot of times, students don't want to use the restroom on the way because they're afraid to be late, and then they have to go get a jug. In this class, if you're a few moments late because you used the restroom, you use a pass to cover yourself. However, if you come to class, set your stuff down, and then ask, I'll let you go, and I'll remind you that you have to be back before the bell, otherwise you owe me a pass. So if you're going to have to use a pass after the bell regardless, it's in your best interest to use the restroom on the way to class. If you come in and ask me, you'll still be able to go, but you're going to lose time, and that time may cause you to come back after the bell. Now, one stipulation on this is that if you know you're going to be in the restroom for a long time because you're having different issues, let me know about that. That way, when I'm taking attendance, I don't have to wonder where you are and call the office to find out that you're in the restroom. So if you know you're going to be in the restroom for a while and you know you're going to have to use a pass, go ahead and come on in and let me know. That way we're not wondering where you're at. Otherwise, use the restroom on the way to class to save yourself a pass. All right, so some other things about this. Whenever we're turning in homework folders, which we'll learn about in a minute, there will be loaner homework folders available for a 1- point on your homework folder to save a pass, which means if you left all of your homework in your locker, you're going to have to use a pass to go get that. However, if you have your homework on paper, you just don't have your turn-in folder. I do have extra folders, so you don't have to use a pass. You'll just take a -1 point for using a loaner folder. Getting a calculator on an assessment day or a day where we are 100% using them, you're supposed to bring them every day, but there are some days where we're doing a lab and we specifically must have them. If you need to go get a calculator for that, or it's a quiz or test day and you forgot your calculator, you can lose your daily point instead of using a pass. Now, if it's on a regular day, and say it's a review day and you'd like to go grab your calculator, that's a restroom pass. Now, drinking water, besides coughing issues, does require a pass. That's just to help make sure that we're here utilizing the full 45 minutes. Students use getting a drink of water in the past as a way around the hallway pass system, and then we'd have 3 or 4 students going out every class, especially in the afternoon, just to go get a drink of water to get a break. So I do want us in the classroom as much as possible to make sure that we're here learning and not distracting others. One thing I want to mention is that after assessments such as quizzes and tests, students always want to go use the restroom because they've just finished a stressful assignment and they want to take a break and relax. It does take passes to exit after an assessment. This is so that we don't have students entering and exiting the classroom at high volumes, opening and closing the door, and distracting others who are still finishing. The next thing I want to mention is the pencil exchange. I will keep a box up here on the desk. If you need a pencil, your student ID, or an item with your name on it, set it on the desk and take a pencil. When you come at the end of class to get your item, you give the pencil back. You may do this on your own. What that means is you don't have to raise your hand and say, "Can I come do a pencil trade?" If you get up and walk to the front of the room, I'll know that's what you're doing. However, if you interrupt class by not having a pencil and you ask others or you make a scene while going to get a pencil, you're going to lose your daily point. The whole plan of this pencil exchange is to make sure that students have fast access to getting a pencil and they don't have to lean to a buddy and say, "Hey, can I get one? Oh, you don't have any? Let me turn around this way," and shout to the back of the class, "Who has a pencil?" There will always be pencils available to you up here in the tray. You trade in your student ID or an item with your name on it. One thing to mention, do not accelerate them for any purpose beyond their intended use. This covers throwing them, flicking them, launching them. Any type of use beyond their intended use as a pencil is no good. I mention this because they're smaller than normal pencils, and that makes people want to play with them. Finally, do not trade a shoe, please. Trade in your student ID or an item with your name on it to get the pencil. Do not leave a shoe or other things that have high amounts of value, such as a wallet or watch, up on the stand where the pencils are. This chart here showcases how we're going to turn in the homework folders. We'll learn more about the homework folders as the year goes on. Typically, they're collected on Tuesday, and they encompass all the homework from the previous week. Now, with them not being turned in daily, as you might experience in many math classes where you have daily homework folders are classified as long-term assignments, which means absences affect them differently. This chart is designed to help you figure out what happens if you are absent and it comes time to turn in your homework folder. Now, if you are not absent any, you're obviously going to need to turn in the homework folder on time. However, a lot of times there are absences. If you are absent, maybe just one day, maybe you're absent on a Wednesday, but by the time the following Tuesday comes around, you have your homework folder ready to go. So you don't even think it's going to affect your completion. Right? Because there's a decision that has to be made here. If you're absent, you have to ask yourself, will it impact you turning in your homework folder? If you believe it's going to impact you, you need to talk to me. You always have to talk to me if you plan on turning in your homework folder at a different time other than the original due date. If you don't talk to me about it, your homework folder is due on that Tuesday. Now notice here I put before. You can't come in on the due date and say, "Mr. Caudill, I was absent last Thursday. Can I turn it in later?" You must mention it before. If you do talk to me though, and we decide that your absence will not impact your due date, because I say, "Hey, you were absent on Monday. That was 8 days ago. I think you can turn in your homework folder on time," we'll go ahead and do that. However, if we say, "You know what, you missed 2 days," or something happened and you tell me the story and I think that you're going to need some extra time, we'll determine a new due date for you. And we'll sort that out individually. But notice that most roads here end with turning in your homework folder on time. The only way to have your homework folder due on a different point in time is you are absent. You think it's going to impact you. You talk to me about it before the due date. We decide, yes, you do need some extra time. I will use this chart when students are having issues or are upset about different due dates, so make sure that you understand it and ask any questions if you have any for our homework folder turn-ins.